Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brennan here, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 of the best accounting software for small businesses. Now, I have covered a lot of different accounting software here on the channel and gone into depth in taking a look at all the different options when it comes to doing your bookkeeping, invoicing, and again, accounting for your small business. So in today's video, we're going to be comparing and taking a look at what are the best ones for you in order to keep a better grip on your overall finances, keep track of your income and expenses, and view your overall profitability of your business. That's what we're going to be diving into here in today's video, figuring out which one is really best for each type of person, because again, each of these different companies offer a wide range of different options, and some companies are definitely better than others when it comes to serving certain types of users, such as yourself. Again, before we dive into things, if you are interested in checking out any of the different accounting software mentioned here in today's video, there will be links linked down below in the video description. Again, some of which are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the video. So taking a look at that number one spot, we have hands down QuickBooks. Now, I personally use and do find QuickBooks to be very flexible and useful for a lot of different small business solutions. Now, again, when I mentioned how important it is to have a bookkeeping or accounting software, there's a variety of ways that you can do it. You can either do it through a platform like QuickBooks. We'll be getting into other companies here in today's video, but in general, I do want to stress the fact that it really is important to keep a good track on your overall finances, not just so that when it comes to tax time, but so that you can actually see, the overall profitability of your business, your income and expenses, and get a good view of how is your business actually doing. And a lot of people really, when they're just getting started, you don't really know that unless you pop everything into these softwares or set up a complicated spreadsheet. The nice thing about these softwares in today's video is that it can be a lot easier to keep everything up to date and automatically link your bank account. And we'll get into that in a little bit later in comparing the different softwares. But first, taking a look here at QuickBooks. Again, a lot of these different softwares are fairly reasonable in terms of pricing. We will be getting into the pricing comparisons as well. Again, some do have some free options. A lot of them, as you can see, do have free trial versions available or discounts available. Again, if you do want to check out any of the companies, there will be links linked down below in the video description. So why QuickBooks is at the number one spot for me personally, again, I do use it in my business, and I do find it to be very effective in terms of the reporting and the flexibility within the reporting and being able to easily automate the tracking of all of your different incoming expenses. You can also file invoicing as well. They do have very good pricing when it comes to processing ACH transactions through their invoicing software. So I do highly recommend that aspect as well if you are interested in that. Again, I get not everybody is necessarily filing invoices, but if you are, then QuickBooks does have that as a good part of their product list. Now, in terms of the different plans and options that they have, again, we're not going to be spending too much time on each of these different softwares, getting into the nitty-gritty of each of them, but in general, QuickBooks does also offer a variety of different plans. Now, in terms of their plans, they do have options for small business owners. If you maybe have things a little bit more advanced, or if you are even just a solopreneur and you are completely self-employed. They do have a completely separate plan. I have covered this more in depth in other videos on the channel about the QuickBooks Solopreneur plan specifically. That used to be QuickBooks Self-Employed. Now it's their QuickBooks Solopreneur. That's more a slightly cheaper plan, more built around just if you are a solo person, and if you're maybe not necessarily needing the potential to add on payroll or maybe some of the more advanced features that you would get even at a Simple Start or Essentials or some of the other bookkeeping automations and things like that you may not necessarily need. Again, you get more users with higher plans as well, being able to add employees times. It's really meant especially beyond the Simple Start. Now, I personally do like the Simple Start plan in terms of what it offers from mileage tracking, cash flow, again, sending those invoices and estimates, keeping track of income and expenses, linking up your bank accounts. It is very easy to use. Cash flow reports, of course. When it gets into the more expensive plans, that's more so if you are going to be having multiple different users, if you're going to be inviting accountants and things like that. That's where it will get a bit more expensive with QuickBooks. up to that $60 a month, $90 a month, even $200 a month. So that is something worth keeping in mind. Again, it just depends on what your business is like. I personally use the Simple Start. That's all that a lot of people will need, or you could even do something like the Solopreneur. It just depends on if you have a team managing your books or if you're doing your own bookkeeping within your business. If you are just a solo person and you don't necessarily care about some of the other features within Simple Start, then Solopreneur could be a good option for you, because they do give you sort of a more basic version of QuickBooks. So that could be another good option, at least within the QuickBooks ecosystem, if you are interested in that as well. Of course, it is a little bit cheaper, and you do still get a lot of the same and similar types of features that you would get with Simple Start. So it just depends on your business and what your goals are. If you maybe plan to, upgrade in the future to add the other options, then it just depends. But overall, those are the two main options within QuickBooks. I do recommend them. They are one of the most popular companies within this ecosystem. And moving along, at the number 2 spot, we have FreshBooks. Now, FreshBooks, not to be confused at all, is not related to QuickBooks whatsoever. I get they both have books in the name, but FreshBooks is one of my other personal favorite invoicing and accounting software solutions, again, built for business owners and accountants. Now, one thing I also do want to mention is both within QuickBooks and FreshBooks, you can do both single entry and double entry accounting for your business. So you do have that little bit of flexibility with both of these softwares. I'd say that FreshBooks is one of my other personal favorites because of how just simple and very visually appealing their backend within their software is. I do have a whole tutorial going over, how to get started with FreshBooks. If you want to check out that tutorial on the channel, feel free to do so if you do want to learn more about FreshBooks. But FreshBooks is originally designed primarily for invoicing, but they do also have, of course, the full suite of accounting and bookkeeping features. So if you are going to be running a lot of invoicing within your business, might make sense to go with a platform and a company like FreshBooks, just because they really do have a bit more flexibility around customizing the invoices and seeing how it's all managed within your software. Again, you can also, of course, accept payments on there. You can do your accounting, expenses, time tracking, project profitability reporting, which is one thing that they do tend to market is really good for freelancers. So, if you are a freelancer, it might make sense for you to use a platform like FreshBooks as well, because they do have your ability to track what you've billed, your overall costs. Like if you are maybe running a team and you're tracking different projects, if you have clients, lots of clients, or people that are collaborating with you, might make sense to use a platform like FreshBooks, because again, those are the types of things that QuickBooks doesn't really service as well. QuickBooks is more built for, I would say not necessarily just traditional businesses, but it's just that they don't have maybe some of the same types of business features that FreshBooks has, which is nice for freelancers or people tracking, client projects. QuickBooks is still a good option, but just FreshBooks does have a bit more of those types of features. As you can see here, for freelancers, self-employed professionals, again, with contractors and things like that, FreshBooks can be a great option. They do also have a lot of different integrations as well. If you are integrating it, I would say FreshBooks and QuickBooks, honestly, both have plenty of integrations with other softwares. So no need to worry there with either of those options. Now, in terms of their pricing, I would say it is fairly comparable to QuickBooks in terms of like how much it is. They also have a free trial as well. So again, if you are interested in trying it out or you want to watch my other tutorials, feel free to do so. Links in the description. But I would say, they are a little bit more limited on their cheaper plan because you can only send up to 5 different clients. And if you do need more like actual reporting, you will need to go to their Plus plan. And it's just, if you need more of a full suite of features, you're going to want the Plus plan, versus the Lite plan is a little bit more basic and just more built, again, just it's a light version essentially. But, it is something worth considering, at least taking a look at, like, hey, what do you need? Honestly, I would recommend trying out a lot of these different softwares to get a feel for them, or watch my other tutorials on these softwares so you can get a feel for the back end, what they look like. Try out their free trials. FreshBooks is another great option for small business accounting. What I personally like the most about FreshBooks as well is just, again, how easy it is to view the reporting within the back end, and how their sheets and forms are very simple, just like how QuickBooks is in terms of viewing your income and expenses, and just it makes it very easy within FreshBooks and QuickBooks as well. Moving along into another software that I am a huge fan of and highly recommend, at the number 3 spot, we have Wave. Now, Wave is one of the only accounting software solutions that actually has a completely free version, not a free trial, actually a free version. Now, it is limited now where you can't connect your bank accounts on the completely free version. You do have to do everything manually on Wave. If you are going to be using their, as you can see here, their starter plan, where you can do things. But if you do want the auto importing of bank transactions, you do have to go up to their Pro plan. But their Pro plan, even then, is still quite a bit cheaper. If you're looking to save money compared to like FreshBooks or QuickBooks, they do have their Pro plan available. I'll say though that their Pro plan is still fairly limited when it comes to some of maybe the other add-ons or other features that they're just not quite there yet, in compared to like a FreshBooks or a QuickBooks. But Wave is still a really solid option in order to manage your income and expenses, and tracking your business as a whole. One of the other nice things about Wave as well, that a lot of the other companies will want to charge you extra for, is if you have multiple businesses. It does make it very easy to go in and add another business within Wave, and it's not going to cost you anything more, especially on like a starter plan. You can add as many businesses as you want. So if you do have multiple businesses, it's very easy to switch between them. You don't need whole separate logins. You can just click a tab and switch businesses right there within the dashboard, which is super nice, especially if you are going to be running multiple businesses. And if you don't have a ton of transactions, honestly, the completely free version is just fine for a lot of people. If you are just getting started and you don't have a ton of transactions, you don't necessarily need the auto importing of bank transactions, because you can just put things in manually. And that might actually, you might prefer putting things in manually just so you can keep a better grip on, hey, where is everything coming in each month? It just depends on what your desires are there. But in terms of what else Wave has to offer, of course, they have their cash flow reports. And again, the reporting maybe isn't necessarily as clean as FreshBooks or QuickBooks, from my experience, but I do still really highly recommend Wave, and do like Wave. I have a complete tutorial on the channel showing you, step by step how to get started using Wave with single entry accounting. Again, so you can do that as well on Wave. And you can see your overall cash flow reports and how your business is doing. So it's a pretty user-friendly way. Their invoicing is a little bit more basic in terms of the look and feel. You can still accept payments as well, do your accounting. They do also have payroll, but it is somewhat limited in terms of where their payroll is available. As you can see, it's only available in certain states currently. So if you are interested in adding on payroll, that is something you may be limited with Wave as well. So there is some, comparisons and things to consider if you are looking to, where you're at, right? If you're just a brand new beginner, Wave can be a really great starting point. And hey, maybe you try them out, you like it. If you don't like it, again, you can always switch later. Although I get with accounting software, once you start getting into one, it can be a little sticky and difficult to want to have to redo all your books in another software. So that is something worth considering, but maybe try out some of these different softwares for 1 month and see if you like it. Moving along, next in this list, we have Xero. Now, not Xero, Xero. Again, they are another great small business accounting software solution. Now, I personally would say Xero is more built for people that are looking to do more traditional accounting, right? If you are not necessarily super well versed in accounting practices in terms of doing double entry accounting, then I would probably recommend going with a company like Wave, FreshBooks, or QuickBooks, where you can do the single entry accounting and you don't necessarily have to worry about balancing out a balance sheet, whereas that is something that you do need to do within Xero. It is obviously very learnable and pretty straightforward to do. But if you are a small business owner just looking at doing a simple like spreadsheet style income and expenses, the other software is a little bit more suited to that. In addition to that as well, maybe if you are hiring an accountant, Xero could be a great option for you because they do have quite a large community of their Xero accountants and people that use them for their accounting practice. So in terms of selecting a software where, maybe accounting firms will be more familiar with it, Xero and QuickBooks are probably the two most popular there in terms of what companies might be familiar with, just because those are two of the most popular software solutions that people are familiar with and a lot of other companies are familiar with as well. Another thing within Xero is they do have plenty of integrations, and for payroll, they do have Gusto for their payroll as well, which is obviously a very popular payroll platform, which can be a great option for you there. They do also have a free trial as well, so if you are looking to try out Xero, you can set it up as a demo with your own data and get things going there. Now, of course, in terms of the features within Xero, again, it's pretty straightforward. You get your reporting, you can pay bills, connect to your bank accounts, accept payments, track projects. Like I said, they have the payroll with Gusto as an option, so that's more flexible compared to like a Wave, for example, if that's something you're interested in using. You have your bank reconciliation. They do also allow you to build out, financial reports, inventory as well, keeping track of inventory. That's something that not necessarily every other software has as down, compared to Xero. So I would say in general, if you're looking for a company that has just a bit more, old-fashioned quote-unquote reports in a way, I would say Xero might be a great option for you. Again, really all these different softwares do have pretty flexible reporting, but I would say that Xero definitely is a little bit better in the reporting department, especially if you're going to be running those traditional financial statements and reports using double entry accounting. QuickBooks is pretty good about that as well, and FreshBooks is decent at it too, but I would say Xero is maybe a little bit a leg above for the reporting side of things. Again, if you are running a more traditional accounting software setup, and maybe you're not just like a self-employed small business owner trying to keep things simple. If you're a small business owner just trying to keep things simple, you can do that within QuickBooks, definitely do that within FreshBooks, and 100% you can do that within Wave. I mean, really, that's one of the main draws to Wave. Xero, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So that is just something worth keeping in mind. And moving in, last but not least, at the number 5 spot, we have Zoho Books. Now, Zoho Books is another option that does actually have a free plan. Now, their free plan is limited to businesses that have an annual revenue of under $50,000. So that is something worth considering there. If you are above that threshold, then you have your standard, other plans that are fairly comparable to all the other accounting software solutions. Now, one of the other nice things about Zoho Books beyond their free plan is that they are linked up with the whole other Zoho software suite. So maybe if you are using Zoho for their CRM or for their other products, such as, their Sales IQ or their Zoho One software, then you have their CRM, you have the marketing services. There's a lot of different options you have within Zoho. Again, their Zoho Expense I highly recommend. They do also have Zoho Payroll, invoicing. So if you are, using the rest of the Zoho software suite, it is pretty compatible and it all sort of connects there, which is nice just because that's something that really all the other software mentioned here in today's video, you're going to have to use external integrations if you're trying to keep things sort of stitched together in terms of your data and how your business business runs. Now, within Zoho Books, they are good for startups in terms of managing finances and cash flow. They are a little bit more complicated, I would say, compared to especially like Wave and FreshBooks. Well, are fairly easy to understand in my personal opinion, and just through the videos I've done here on the channel. Those two are fairly simple. Obviously, QuickBooks is fairly simple as well. They have gotten a lot better in recent years to make things a little bit easier for beginners. But Zoho, you know, sort of more similar along the lines of like a Xero. There's maybe a little bit more of a learning curve, and depending on how you're using QuickBooks, there's also a little bit of a learning curve. Really, with all these softwares, there's honestly a little bit of a learning curve, so that's something to bear in mind. I'd say Wave is probably the simplest and easiest to get started with in terms of the ease of use department, in terms of how easy it is to get started using them in the learning curve. Now, Zoho Books does also offer their project reporting, inventory, and just general reporting as well. They do have quite a lot of different reports that you can do within here, in terms of setting up automations, viewing your cash flow statements as well. So Zoho Books, again, another good option for you in the accounting software department. And again, because they do have that free version, is kind of nice too. It is maybe a little bit more of a learning curve, like I said, compared to maybe some of the other software solutions here mentioned in today's video. So guys, that is pretty much all of the different small business accounting software and bookkeeping solutions. Now, again, you could also resort to just using a simple spreadsheet, an Excel sheet, Google Sheet. There's tutorials on my channel as well on how to get that set up, or if you do want to go the software option to make your life a lot easier. Again, a lot of these softwares do have a small monthly fee. A lot of them do have free trials. Again, links are linked down below in the description if you do want to get started with any of the companies mentioned here in today's video. But whatever you take away from this video, it's very important to keep track of your income and expenses, not just for taxes, but also keeping a good view on the overall financial health of your business. So definitely recommend giving one of these a shot and getting started with your accounting and bookkeeping life, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you do want to check out the companies mentioned, there are links down below in the video description. Great way to help out and support the channel. If you guys found this video helpful or enjoyed it, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, that's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.